So in the last video, I talked about how you can perform actions on objects. So doing things like resizing an object, rotating an object, moving an object. And I included examples of multiple objects in that video. So I used a photo, a graphic, and text. So just like with photos and graphics, you resize, rotate, and move text in the exact same way. But in this video, we're going to delve a little bit more into text because text can be really customized. You can do things like change the style of it, the size of it, the color of it, and that's what we're going to cover in this video. So you're going to want to start off on the text tab. So you might be on templates, you want to just click on text and you should see this. So I also talked in the video about different options that there are different ways of starting with text on Canva. So here in the bottom, there's already combinations. So these consist of one or more, or two or more different styles of text together. So it's a really easy way to just pick text that you like without having to think about it. So Canva kind of does the customization for you right away. Here at the top, though, if you just want to start with plain text and customize it by yourself, you're going to want to pick one of these. So Canva has heading, subheading, and body of text. And the only real difference between these is the size. And the size itself doesn't really matter either, because you can change that later, which we will cover in this video. But first, I'm just going to click on Add a Heading, because I want to show you a little bit about typing. Now, depending on your skill level, involving computers, your experience, you might be a pro at typing or you might be a beginner. So I'm just going to show you a little bit with typing. So when it comes to replacing text that already exists with your own text, so your own words, you have to highlight or select it. In this case, Canva already highlights it for you as soon as you add it. So if I add a subheading, that one's going to be highlighted now. And you know it's highlighted because it has like that purple over it. That's really important because that'll get rid of the text and replace it with your own. So in this case, I can just start writing, and what was there before erases and adds my own text. But let me just show you how to do that on your own, because if you want to go back in the future and change text, you're going to need to know how to do this. So to highlight or select text, they mean the same thing. You have to click either in the beginning or end of the text that you want to erase. So if I want to erase all of this, I want to start at the beginning or end. So just click at the beginning or end, hold down the button, the left button on your mouse, keep it held down, and then using your mouse, you want to drag on top of it until all of it's highlighted. Then you can let go, and now you can begin typing whatever it is that you want to type. It's really important that you start at the beginning or end, because if I start from the middle, so for example, if I start here, I'm only going to be able, if I start here, I'm only going to be able to highlight to the left or right or of where I click. So I can only erase that, and I would still have some left over. So that's why it's important to start from the beginning or end. So again, like sometimes you might be trying to click and you might accidentally move it. Just make sure you're clicking in the box and not outside of the box. So like that. And now you can just type whatever you want. So that's typing with text. If you need more resources with learning how to do that, if you really are a beginner, you can feel free to reach out and I can send you some of those resources. All right, so now moving on, we're going to talk about font style. So the way you can change font style is, again, you want to always select what you're working with. So I'm just going to select this text. And right here in this bar are all these options that help you customize text. So the first one you're going to see has words in it, and that's the title, the name of the font that is currently applied to your text. So if I click on this, you're going to see my sidebar changes, and now there's a list of a bunch of different font styles. So just like I mentioned with graphics and photos, some of these are pro options, meaning you have to pay for them, and you know they are if they have this crown next to them. So you probably just want to focus on the ones that don't have that crown next to them. And all you have to do is click on it. So let's say this one looks nice. I can click on it, and my text is going to change to be that style. And you can do this multiple times just to figure out which one you like. Once you like it, like let's say I like this one and I want to leave it that way, then you can just click out and now your text is going to stay in that style. And again, you can always come back and change it at any point in time. So yeah, that's very simple. Next, let's talk about changing font size. So again, select it, and font size is right next to font style. It's the one that has the number. So if you click on it, it's going to open a list of numbers. Now, the smaller the number, the smaller the text is going to be. Like there, it's so small you can't even see it. There, you can kind of see it. But yeah, the bigger the number, the bigger it's going to be. And it's important to know that you're not limited to this list. So this list only goes from 6 to 144. But what if I want my text to be 200? That's where typing in this box is going to come in handy. So just like with text, you need to highlight it you have to highlight the number to erase it and replace it with your own number. So it's highlighted. I can then type in my number, click the enter key on my keyboard, and now it's at 200, and you can see it got bigger. So again, you can either pick from the list or type it. So if I want it to be 12, I can either type in 12 and click enter, or you can come up here and click on 12. And if it has a check mark next to it, that's the current size of your text. So that's very simple as well. Next is font color. So again, select your font, and you're going to go to this icon, the one that has an A with a rainbow underneath it, and you can even say it says text color. Text color, font color means the same thing. So you're just going to want to click on this, and your sidebar is going to change to be very colorful. So if I wanted a simple purple, I can just come on here, click the purple, my text is now purple. If I wanted a simple yellow, click on yellow, and now it's yellow. So you can work with these if you just want something very simple. If you want something different, you can come up here where it says new color, click this kind of rainbow icon, and this box is going to open up. So basically, you can use the slider to go to a certain color group. So if I want it to be kind of like darker blue, I can go towards the darker blues and then use my mouse up here to kind of look within this range. So you can customize that shade of blue. So that's a lot of fun, figure out what color you like. And once you leave it, it's going to stay that color. So that's how you change font color. So another thing you can do with text is add emphasis by applying bolding, italics, or underlining. Now, again, you want to start off by selecting your text in order to apply those changes. And then you will see that this B, I, and U appears at the top bar. Now, depending on the style that you have applied to your text, some of these options might not be available. So you can see here the B and the I are kind of grayed out, and it has a circle with a line through it. So I can't even click these, nothing's going to happen. Whereas this U, if I click on it, you'll see something does happen, which we will talk about what's happening in a sec. But yeah, these options might not be available depending on your style. So if I do change my text style to a different one, they might then be available. So let me just pick this one, for example. You can see that these are no longer grayed out. So now I can click on these. So what are these? So I'm first going to make my text bigger just so you can see it better. But basically, B stands for bold, I stands for italics, and U stands for underline. Now, it's probably in your best interest to select your text. So highlight it. So again, make sure you're doing it inside. It's very easy to move the box rather than highlight it. That might take a little bit of practice because even I'm doing it. But basically, I have it selected now. Now these buttons kind of act as on and off switches. So if you click it, it's going to apply the style, and if you click it again, it's going to remove the style. So for example, if I click the B, it's going to bold my text, and basically what that does is make the text a little bit thicker. So you can see it's on because now it's has a bit of a gray background to it. If I click it again, it's going to unbold it. It's going to be thinner again, and now it doesn't have that gray around it. So that's bolding. What italics does is add a bit of a slant to your text. And if I click it again, it's going to remove that styling. And then underline is pretty self-explanatory. It underlines your text. It adds a solid line underneath your text. If I click it again, it's going to remove it. And you can actually apply all three of these at the same time. You can have two at the same time. You can have one. You can have none. It's really up to you. So I could have my text be bold, italics, and underline. And you'll see that that's what it looks like. The highlighting is just temporary, but this is what it looks like right now with all three of those. And again, can remove some of them. So yeah, these options are there if you want to emphasize text. It really depends on the context of what you're writing as to when you'd use them, but it's nice to know that those are available there for you. All right, so now let's talk about alignment. So alignment of text has to do with kind of where it starts on the page. So right now, my box around my text is really snug. It's really around the text, but I could expand my box by dragging it out. Now, right now, you can see that my text is still in the very center of the box, but I can change that. And that has to do with alignment, which is right here. It's the icon that kind of has the lines stacked on top of each other, and you can even see that it says alignment. So to change alignment, all you have to do is click the button, and it kind of goes through the different options that are available for you, and once you like it, you can just stop clicking it. So right now it's centered, now it's to the left, it's the left of the box, and now it's justified, which you can't really see anything happening, and that's because justifying text only really matters if there's text filling the whole box, because it basically evens it out within the box. So you might not even see a difference, but yeah, right now it is justified. If I click it again, now it's right aligned. So you kind of just can go through them, figure out which one you like the best, and once you like it, you can leave it alone. So yeah, that's alignment. And then lastly, let's talk about transparency. So transparency has to do with like how see-through your text is. So again, you want to select it. And instead of being here, transparency is actually over here. So it's the one that has kind of like this checker pattern to it, and you can even see that it says transparency. If I click on it, you'll see that there is kind of this bar and a box. So just like with text, you can pick from a list or type into the box. Here, you can either slide this or you can write a number. So it's going to go from 100 to 0, 0 meaning completely see-through, it's invisible, 100 being completely solid. You can go somewhere in the middle and it'll be kind of transparent. So you're not changing the color of the text, you're changing kind of how see-through it is. And you can also do that again by typing a number. So I'm actually just going to add a photo here so you can kind of see what transparency can do. So if I add the text on top of this photo and I make the transparency 100, you're not going to be able to see that photo underneath it. But if I make it lower, you can kind of see more of the leaf behind it. That's all that transparency does. It's just an option there, again, that you can play with if you want to. So yeah, those are some of the things you can do with text to really customize it, make it your own.